Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Ali. I'm a doctor based in the UK, and this is the commemorative 1 million subscribers Q&A video. Huge thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the channel and has supported the channel and me over the last 3 and a bit years. It's been an awesome journey so far, and we're just getting started. So in this video, I'm gonna be answering a load of questions that people sent in via Instagram. Those will all be linked in timestamps in the video description, so do feel free to skip around if you feel like it, because this is probably gonna be quite long and quite rambly. The extended edition of this video is gonna be uploaded to Nebula, more details in the video description, and I'll tell you a little bit about that at the end, but now let's just dive into it. Okay, so the first question is, what were your expectations of the YouTube channel when you first started it? This is a hard one to say. When I started it, it was in June 2017, and I originally started it as a way of kind of content marketing for my business, helping kids get into medical school. And so I always had in the back of my mind that one day this could potentially be big, and I kind of knew how big some YouTubers were, but I never at all thought that I'd get to that position of being kind of big on YouTube. And I think the way that I was thinking about it was that I was trying not to think about the numbers at all. Like, I didn't really have any kind of goal that I want to hit 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000. I think the numbers that were relevant were that at the time when I started, I had a friend who was on 4,000 subscribers, and that seemed just about manageable. I thought that, okay, if I plug really hard at this, I can probably get to 4,000. I had another friend who was on 20,000, and that seemed completely unattainable. And I had another friend who was on 60,000. I was like, there's no way in a million years I'm ever gonna get to 60,000 subscribers. So that was kind of the ballpark of numbers in my mind when I first got started. And so even now I try not to have any expectations, because I think if you set numerical goals, that's just a recipe for disappointment, because kind of the number of views, number of subscribers, amount of revenue, none of that stuff is within my control. The only thing in my control is churning out 1 or 2 or 3 videos a week. And so that's the thing that I focus on. I focus on the process rather than thinking about the scale or the outcome. Okay, question 2, do you feel satisfied with what you've done with your channel? Yeah, I feel satisfied with most things. This is another one of those where if I felt unsatisfied, it would probably be because of a focus on outcomes. Or if I felt satisfied, it would also be a focus on outcomes. So like, I actually try not to think about whether this channel is successful or whether it's satisfying or anything like that, just because that makes me think too much about the outcome. Even now, I'm still focused on just, video, just the process of churning out videos every week and making more courses. I don't really stop and think at all about, is this successful? Am I satisfied? Anything like that. All right, next question. What would you do differently if you had the chance to start from scratch? I think I'd probably focus on my website a lot more, because I think there's a lot of scope for creating blog posts out of videos, because once you've done the research for the video and made the video anyway, it's only a small step to convert it into a blog post. I probably also would have taken the small step of converting each video into a tweet storm, just like a series of Twitter threads, which would have made it more shareable as well. Possibly even, depending on how dedicated I was feeling, even converting them to like an Instagram carousel of the main points. I probably would have done that, but again, the fact that I'm not really doing it now means that I probably can't really be bothered to do that kind of stuff. That's pretty much the main thing. Otherwise, I think it's gone pretty well. I sort of wish I'd thought to outsource editing a little bit sooner, because it was a complete game changer when I did, but that would be the only thing I'd say. All right, what is your favorite video on your YouTube channel? I think my favorite video is one that no one else cared about, which is, it's called like Harry Potter Medical Science Explained. And that's where I look through some of the scenes in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone and explain some of the medical science in that. That's probably my favorite video that I've done, even though it got like basically no one cared relative to all the other videos. Okay, what's the most underappreciated aspect of running your YouTube channel? I think often what people don't see is the thought and like the system behind it. I've kind of given a glimpse of that in some of my videos about Notion, where I kind of go behind the scenes of the creative process. Again, that's a video that, again, comparatively few people cared about relative to a video about like how to type faster, for example. And so I think a lot of people just don't care, which is absolutely fine. But kind of the systemization aspect of it, and how in a way it's become almost a factory for churning out videos. That's an aspect that I think is underappreciated. Appreciate is a strong word, because I don't expect people to appreciate that. But certainly when I show other YouTubers or other like friends the behind the scenes, they're always surprised at how much of a workflow and a system there is to producing videos. Okay, if you had to choose one, YouTube or Skillshare? So I think at the moment I make more from Skillshare than I do from YouTube, but I only make money on Skillshare because I have an audience that's pre-built on YouTube. So if I could only pick one, I would definitely pick YouTube, because building an audience on YouTube is relatively straightforward. And then you can funnel that audience into more paid things. I wouldn't want to just be on Skillshare, because then I'd have a class and it would have no one watching it because no one already kind of knows me. So that's the benefit of YouTube and platform like Twitter and Instagram. You build up an audience of people who hopefully know, like, and trust you, and then you can monetize that audience further down the line if you want to. Why do you always mention how you do stuff when taking a poo? This is a good question. I suppose the reason I do it is because it gives me a bit of a kick to skirt the social norm of talking about defecation. Like, I get a bit of a kick out of it. I have no qualms about talking about my poo or wee habits, and I think it's kind of funny. And so when I talk about like doing a poo while doing something, I feel like it shows that I'm taking myself less seriously, and I feel like it's ha ha ha, look at that guy. It's just like a part of my personality that I am happy to make come across on camera, because in a way, the weirder you are and the more unapologetically your weird self you are on camera, I feel like this creates a more kind of authentic experience for the viewer. And like in real life, I talk about my poo and wee habits all the time. So I try and be as authentic on camera as I am in real life. That's kind of the reason behind that. Pet peeves. You know, something that really grinds my gears is when people talk in a way that makes other people feel left out. Like, for example, if I'm with a group of friends and some of us in that group are in a WhatsApp group together and other people in the group are not, and it really grinds my gears when someone references the WhatsApp group in that setting. Like, oh my God, did you see what thing you posted on that group last night? Like, no, don't do that. That's just making people feel excluded and bad, and that's terrible. That is one of my biggest pet peeves in life. What's been your favorite moment on YouTube? So there's probably two favorite moments. One is kind of, it genuinely is fun to hang out with people in real life, especially because usually the sorts of people I hang out with are the sorts of people that I would get on with anyway. Meeting up with fans through YouTube has been awesome, and kind of by extension, meeting up with other YouTubers. That's been probably the most satisfying part about being a YouTuber, because you automatically have so much in common with these other nerdy people who decide to make videos on the internet. And I've definitely formed a few friendships that way. So that's been pretty cool. It's also really nice when a video performs well. Like on the YouTube Studio app, confetti comes about when you have a video that's doing particularly well. And that's just generally a very nice feeling. It's a burst of endorphin release. Have there been any videos that you've regretted posting? No, I don't think so. If I'd regretted posting a video, I would have taken it down. There is one video that I regretted posting, although regret is a strong word. There was a video I made about how I take notes on my iPad at work, and I made a few flippant comments about like data security, which I didn't see was an issue, because in my head, obviously, it was fine because of, iPad being offline and all this sort of stuff. But someone actually complained to my hospital saying that I was being blasé about data security in that video. And so I had to take the video down and then kind of replace it with a more reasonable, sort of less heavy-handed approach to data security. That was a good lesson to learn fairly early on. And so I don't regret posting the video, but I regret the distress that it caused someone, if that makes sense. All right, who do you love more, Matt D'Avella or Thomas Frank? I don't like to choose favorites. I love them both. Thomas Frank has more directly changed my life, because in like October last year, he introduced me to Standard, which is the agency that I'm now part of, and that's completely changed the game for me. Matt D'Avella has been a constant source of inspiration ever since I started following his YouTube channel. So they've both very much inspired me in different ways. Okay, what was key to your growth between 600K and 1 million, which seems so quick? I think really it's partly coronavirus happened, and so that kind of did well for a lot of YouTubers, because a lot of people are more kind of staying at home. I think also we had that one viral video about how I type really fast, which has kind of really accelerated the channel growth in the past kind of 10 days or so. I'd say those are probably the main things. But the thing with the algorithm is that in a way it is kind of exponential growth. And if you can just keep on churning out the content and occasionally produce a viral video, then I don't know. It's hard to say how kind of the algorithm gods favor certain channels and not others. But I suspect it's the coronavirus plus the occasional viral hit that we had in that time. Okay, have you ever thought about what you want to do after YouTube, a new business? What would it be? I don't really think very far ahead. And I also don't really like to think, but I think like after YouTube isn't really a concept in my mind, because YouTube is just kind of a platform to put myself out there. And I want to be putting myself out there basically for the rest of my life. And YouTube seems a very reasonable way of doing that, at least in the short to medium term. So as long as YouTube is a thing, and as long as people still care, I think I'll continue to put out content on YouTube. And so I don't really imagine a after YouTube phase of my life, which is probably kind of sad. All right, we've got, when did you fully get into productivity stuff and who inspired you? I think I've been vaguely into the whole productivity thing since I read The 4-Hour Workweek, which, by Tim Ferriss, obviously, which is kind of a productivity book. It's about how to 10x your output while working a lot less. And so that kind of first got me into it. And then I read a lot of blog posts, discovered Evernote, discovered this, websites like Lifehacker, which are productivity blogs. That was around the time I was 17 or 18 years old. And so that was kind of what got me into it. And in terms of productivity content on YouTube, I kind of stumbled into that accidentally. I made videos about how to study for exams, made a video about my desk setup, but the word productivity only really came into it when other people started asking me how I was so productive. And then I realized that productivity YouTube is like a thing and started kind of leaning more in that direction. All right, next we have, do you miss being a doctor? Honestly, no, but I've only not been a doctor for about a month, and a month feels like kind of taking a holiday, and you don't really miss work when you've taken a holiday for a month. But there's so much going on in terms of kind of the YouTube channel and the different stuff that we're doing with the team, and stuff going on at home with my mum and my brother, and there's like always cool things happening. And so I've not had a single day where I've missed being a doctor, but I'm only a month into unemployment, so maybe that'll change. All right, what is the most valuable thing you've learned in your life so far? Hard to answer a question like that. What people are getting at with that kind of question is wanting some like life-changing piece of life advice. There's never a life-changing piece of life advice. It's often repeated learnings built up over a long period of time. I suppose for me, one of the big ones is just that people care a lot less about us than we think they do. I think there's that quote that's often attributed to Eleanor Roosevelt, which is that you'd stop caring so much what others think of you when you realize how seldom they do. And I've seen this in so many different occasions where, you know, it's this thing called the spotlight effect, where we all act as if we're going around life with a spotlight trained on us, where other people are gonna notice our every mistake and our every faux pas, and oh, we said that thing, and you know, someone's gonna remember that for ages. But actually everyone is just worried about their own life, and they actually couldn't care less what's going on in ours. And so when I first began to realize that and embody that, that was what helped make me more confident, made me more willing to step outside my comfort zone, made me more willing to put myself out there, because I realized that at the end of the day, no one actually cares. So that's probably the biggest piece of advice that I've come across. All right, who is your greatest inspiration of all time? Family doesn't count. Probably Tim Ferriss. It's probably a bit cliche to say at this point, but I think his work has probably had the single biggest impact on me through his book, The 4 Hour Workweek, and then the podcast. And so probably Tim Ferriss. On the YouTube front, probably Peter McKinnon. You know, when I started the YouTube channel, I kind of thought in my head, I would love to be the Peter McKinnon of medical school, or the Peter McKinnon of medicine. So his vibe has really like inspired me early on. So probably a mixture of Tim Ferriss and Peter McKinnon. What have you always wanted to do but were afraid to try? Honestly, I've always wanted to be able to go up to a pretty girl on the street and just like talk to them. And I've always been afraid to do that. So that's an ongoing work in progress. All right, next question. How long till you become a Gymshark athlete? I don't know, man. I think it's one of those things that's probably not going to happen, but working towards it is kind of fun and kind of interesting. And it encourages me to eat healthy and work out a bit more and get a bit more hench and stuff. I feel overall I'm not very wedded to the outcome, you know, as with everything. I'm not wedded to the outcome of becoming a Gymshark athlete. I care a lot more about the journey of trying to become a Gymshark athlete. And that's what's important for me, rather than actually achieving it or not. All right, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Again, this is another hard one to answer because I don't really plan that far in advance. You know, given that the future is so uncertain, like, you know, 2 years ago, I would have had no idea how big this YouTube channel was gonna get, or that it would be a significant part of my life, or that I'd be taking a break from medicine to be a freaking full-time YouTuber. And so I really have no idea what my life is gonna look like 5 years from now. All I can do at this point is just keep on enjoying the journey, because journey before destination, it's the climb, as Miley Cyrus would say. So keep enjoying the journey, and also just kind of keep my options generally open. So, you know, in 5 years' time, if an interesting opportunity comes along, I'd be reasonably well placed to take that opportunity. All right, if you were to learn a new language, what would it be? Probably Japanese. I've been kind of dabbling with learning Japanese for the last like several years, and it seems kind of cool. And so I'd want to learn Japanese properly. I think next on my list is Spanish after that. Who is your favorite music artist at the moment and why? I've recently gone into John Mayer quite a lot. I hadn't really heard any of his stuff before, but in the last few months, I've discovered John Mayer and he's great. And he's an amazing guitarist, amazing songwriter, very good at singing. And also I really like the fact that his voice is quite low, kind of like mine. And so for most of his songs, they're actually not really out of my range. And so I feel like it's an attainable level of singing to get to kind of sing similar to John Mayer. All right, so those were the questions related to YouTube, productivity, and general life. We also have a more extended version of this video where I just answer a load of random questions for Instagram without really any filter. Are you still single? If you're interested in watching the extended version of this video, you can check it out on Nebula. If you don't know, Nebula is the streaming platform that me and a bunch of other creators have helped to build. And on Nebula, we can post long form content like extended Q&As that wouldn't necessarily do well on YouTube. Also on Nebula, I've got my workflow series where I deep dive into some of my favorite productivity apps. And we've also got our deep dives and deep dive snippets, which is the full recordings and bite-sized clips from all the interviews I've done with other productivity experts and other cool creators over the last few months. To get access to Nebula, the best way is to sign up to CuriosityStream, who are very kindly sponsoring this video. CuriosityStream is the world's leading documentary streaming subscription platform founded by John Hendricks, the founder of the Discovery Channel. And on CuriosityStream, you've got amazing high quality documentaries from all sorts of topics, just from science to technology to history, geography, machine learning, AI, all of that cool stuff. And because CuriosityStream love educational-ish creators, they've partnered up with Nebula. And so if you sign up to CuriosityStream, which is less than $15 a year, you get free access to Nebula bundled with that. And so for less than $15 a year, you get these amazing high quality documentaries on CuriosityStream, but then also on Nebula, you get all this exclusive content made by me and a bunch of other creators who you might recognize. To sign up, go to curiositystream.com/Ali, and when you do that, you'll get emailed with your Nebula account details. And in the version of this video that's on Nebula, this ad is entirely replaced with the more extended version of this video, if that's what you care to watch. But other than that, a huge thank you again for 1 million subscribers. This is awesome. I never in a million years thought I'd ever get to 1 million subscribers. It just seemed so far out of reach. But now we're here and we're just getting started. So thank you everyone for your support, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.